think of my communion talk, and I love this song. To me, like I have always sort of described it. As like it feels like what I want in relationships, and it feels like what I want in my future, and like it's just this song that feels very like directive to me. And so I was trying to think, like, that's not a very helpful thought, like, but like what about it is directive? And I was having some difficulty. Like, there's lyrics in there that I love, like I can be your mountain when you're feeling valley low. I love if we want to garden, we're going to have to sow the seeds. I love those lines. I was having difficulty figuring out what about them I connected with. And so then I started to think about the imagery of a crowded table and why that imagery was so important to me, especially at this time in my life and in like sort of the history of where I feel like I am right now. And so I just wanted to share a little bit of vulnerability that I came to with this thought last night, which is the reason that it's so important to me to have this imagery of a crowded table is because I'm legitimately very afraid right now of the future. I'm very afraid of where the sort of safety for people like me, for people not like me. I'm very afraid for the safety of people who feel very comfortable. I worry about food insecurity. I worry about resource management. I worry about these things constantly. And so the imagery that I came to is the idea of having a crowded table feels like having an abundance in community, that when things get really bad, the place that you can turn to is the community that you have a crowded table with, that you can bring food together, that you can share laughs, and that you can share conversation and discussion around. That crowded table just feels like a place of safety and security when things are hard or bad. It's a place where people trust you and know that they can talk about what is real in their lives and what they need, and you can bring those needs to the crowded table. I also think about it as like, to me, the way that she describes that crowded table, it feels like family. Like, she isn't describing like hosting a big party. She's describing like day to day meeting at dinner. Like, she talks about coming together when the day is done. Like, it's not about the perfect days. It's not about the planned days. It's about the just constant community of togetherness and that always coming back together to spend time together. And that just feels really important to me. And from a place of like our community, it feels like a direction that I am curious about, like just thinking about, like just as a sort of guiding stone, like thinking about getting to a crowded table feels nice to me, at least. So anyways, I just wanted to share this song in case anyone hadn't heard it before. It feels really important to me. And I wanted to pull out a few thoughts. So for like our communion discussion, I wanted to pull a few lyrics to give you some direction on. So the first one I want you to think about is that I can be your mountain when you're feeling valley low. We think a lot of times about the ways that other people impact us when we're having a hard time. But the thing I kind of want you to think about with this is, like, when have you been a mountain for somebody, and how did that experience change you or make you learn something new, or like what did being somebody's mountain in a time of difficulty, like what did that do for you? And I'd like you to share that with your tables. The other thing to think about that I really liked was, if we want to garden, we're going to have to sow the seeds. This is something I think about a lot. I don't know how long I have, so I try to be as intentional at all times with what I'm doing, what I'm saying, to try to establish as much about myself and try to make as quick a connection with people as I can. That's just a seed that I personally try to plant. But so with this thought, I kind of want you to think of like what do you want? Like, what crops do you want our garden to grow? What do you want to see our garden growing? And then specifically, what do you think the seed looks like to grow that crop? Like, what do we need to do? What do you need to do? What needs to be done to start growing that crop? So anyway, that's the direction. I want to send our tables on, and yeah, feel free to come and share with me.
Versions of this have been around for a long time. Examen is just the Spanish word for examination. And the idea behind this practice is God is always present, right? We heard that in the psalm this morning. But are we paying attention? Are we looking? God may be communicating, but are we listening? And this prayer also acknowledges that God is often a lot easier to see in hindsight than in the moment, right? It's easier to look back and say, oh, wow, that, I didn't notice at the time, but good was working in my life. And the more that we practice looking back and seeing what God has done, the more we might be able to see God in the moment. And so there are 5 steps to this practice that I'll go over quickly, and then we're going to do them together. We start by rejoicing, right? We start with gratitude, which is kind of a spiritual practice of its own, because there's always something to complain about, but we want to start from a place of what are the things just in the last day that are positive, right? We're starting from a positive mindset, not criticism. Then the next step is request, because this isn't just me doing this. We believe that God, the Spirit, is with us in this prayer. God is active, and we're not just looking for a good memory of the last day, which is a lot of what the prayer is, but we're looking for revelation to see things that we might otherwise miss. The third step was kind of the heart of this practice is a review. We're really thinking through the past 24 hours to look for the things that were good, the things that were less good. The classical language is consolations and desolations. Highs and lows, roses and thorns. This is a practice that is in a lot of places. And it's not just what happened, but how it affected you. And bigger questions of, was I open to love, or was I closed to the voice of love? And maybe you don't notice it until you start thinking through it. Were you aware, were you paying attention, or were you distracted? Where that happened through your day. All right, the fourth step, and I had to use this word just because it would fit, is repent. I know there's that word sometimes is troubling because it tends to have associations of feel bad about yourself. But what it really means is just being willing to change your mind. And so as we're thinking back through your day, some negative things probably will come up. And so it's just a point of saying, okay, well, what am I going to do about that? We don't want to beat ourselves up and tell ourselves we're bad people and give in to the voice of shame, but to ask God to help us, okay, how can I do better next time? If I didn't show love or grace in that moment, where could I do it? And we ask for forgiveness and know that we have it. And then the last step is resolve, that we're asking for grace for the next day. Not just more willpower, not I'm going to do better, but God, will you help me in the coming day?